Good day. My name is Singit Matebula, and welcome to another episode um, on the Digital Inclusion and Land Administration series. And so today's episode will be exploring the intersection of land use planning, digital rights, and inclusion in South Africa. And in this episode, we will dive into the importance of digital inclusion in the urban and rural space and how it impacts land acquisition strategies, where there are gaps in inclusion, and wonder ways to tackle it. So firstly, let's get into land use and digital inclusion. So land use planning and digital inclusion are two seemingly different concepts, but they are actually closely related. And in the modern society, digital inclusion and access to technology are essential for effective land use planning and can help to ensure that land use plans are inclusive and transparent. And so, digital inclusion is the concept of ensuring that all individuals have access to and can effectively use technology to participate in and benefit from the modern society. And in order for land use planning to be inclusive and involve all members of the community, it is important that everyone has access to the information and tools necessary to participate in the process. And digital tools such as the GIS can support land use planners to understand the relationships between geography, people, and the built environment. And so these tools allow planners to map out the current and land use plans or patterns, demographic data, transportation infrastructure, and other relevant information to make more informed decisions. And by making land use plans accessible and available online, it allows for greater participation and transparency. And so once a plan is developed, people can engage with the plan and provide their feedback through digital channels. And firstly, access to reliable and affordable technology is one of the significant barriers faced by low income communities in participating in land use planning. Many communities lack access to smart devices and connectivity, which limits their ability to participate effectively in the planning process. And this issue is especially prevalent in rural areas or small townships where connectivity remains a significant issue. And so, without access to these tools, individuals cannot monitor planning activities or provide input during the critical decision making process. And secondly, digital literacy is equally important to enhance digital inclusion, but it is often another challenge because the difference in technological skills, language barriers, and literacy levels can act as significant obstacles for many residents. And so many people may not have the knowledge to navigate online platforms or may not be proficient in spoken or written official languages. And as a result, they may feel excluded or unable to somehow take part in the digital planning process. And so, what this does is that it reduces the likelihood of meaningful engagement and create a lack of diversity in perspectives, which is very essential for effective land use planning. And the third challenge is data privacy and safety. This is because for digital inclusion to be effective, stakeholders must trust that their information will remain secure and confidential. And so, such unplanned disruptions can be frustrating for people trying to participate and may reduce the overall engagement. And next, we move on to the digital rights and inclusions in South Africa. Notably, South Africa retains a good reputation in the respect of internet rights and freedoms, being ranked as the continent's best performing country in the Inclusive Internet Index for 2020. And in recent years, there have been increased efforts to move towards an inclusive digital environment. However, our country still faces substantial hurdles in advancing digital rights, and many of the existing inequalities, barriers to access, and structures of discrimination have been magnified by the global pandemic. And this brings us to freedom of expression. By and large, the constitutionally protected right to freedom of expression is well respected in South Africa, and in the Constitutional Court, it's reaffirmed that it is no exaggeration to characterize the right to freedom of expression as the livelihood of a genuine constitutional democracy that keeps it fairly vibrant, stable, and peaceful. And more importantly, free expression is an indispensable and more importantly, free expression is an indispensable and most importantly, free expression is an indispensable facilitator of vigorous and necessary exchange of ideas and accountability. And despite this, there are some developments relating to freedom of expression, both on and offline, that warrant further monitoring. And the use of enjoyment of freedom of expression online has become increasingly popular in South Africa, particularly as more users join the social media networks and access and also disseminate information. It is estimated that there are over 1 million active social media users in South Africa, and the online spaces create new and exciting opportunities for the advancements of the freedom of expression. However, some of the challenges have arisen when navigating these contemporary spaces. So let's touch a bit on digital infrastructure. So further to the above, so let's touch a bit on digital infrastructure. So there have been promising indicators illustrating the advancement of South Africa's digital infrastructure, and there has been most notably digital infrastructure development. So major mobile networks are offering or working towards offering access to connectivity for the people, and the draft policy on the rapid deployment of electronic communication networks was published in 2020. And so the publication of the report of the Presidential Commission on the Industrial Revolution was also an important moment for South Africa's digital landscape. But unfortunately, the efforts towards access and infrastructure may remain inconsequential without appropriate steps to bridge the digital divide and meaningfully advance digital literacy skills. And without the requisite skills, meaningful and active participation with online services is unlikely. And in South Africa, The pervasive digital divide runs across historical lines of oppression, and the exacerbated and it is exacerbated in the context of access to digital literacy skills. And a recent report found that discriminatory access to internet further undermines the right to equality and non-discrimination, guaranteed both by the Constitution and under international human rights law. And so, in the context of health, particularly when it comes to accessing health related information during the times of the crisis, or any crisis, digital exclusions can be or have a significant impact on the information rights, which in turn may implicate an array of other rights. And yeah, that's it for today's episode. Stay tuned to join us on the next episode. Thank you and bye.